Okay, welcome everybody to another GigaCast. This time we have a fantastic guest in the way of Cody, an OG team member from the MaxETH team. Welcome, Cody.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be with you guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, especially on short notice. Appreciate it.
For sure.
We also have Donathan, Scott, and Jake in the house for the Giga team.
How's it going, guys? Welcome, Cody. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Cody, for joining. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sorry, my connection's a little funky.
No worries.
Looks like it's been a few weeks. I guess y'all kind of give a bit of a recap of what our projects have been up to as well.
Might be Jake's connection.
Oh,
Okay. You hear that too?
Yeah.
Make sure it's not me.
Yeah, I hear him jumping around.
Oh
Hang
no,
on.
the farm internet.
It's that Schedule 1 playing too much.
Schedule 1's taking everything.
And another buddy of mine's playing that. I'd never heard of it till like a week ago.
It's definitely funny for good days. I think it got updated out and picked it back since.
Is it like an art imitates life kind of a deal?
Yeah, kind of. And then you're just that guy. What am I doing here? Selling drugs. Animated people. Like.
I remember old school, like, there's a game that used to play like a long time ago, Ganja Farmer.
Oh yeah, like iPod Touch. I remember that.
Yeah, it was like a goofy, I don't know, kind of like 2D. I don't know, it was fun. Got to protect your crops from the DEA, from the black helicopters and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
That's hilarious.
Libertarian.
Well, Cody, why don't you introduce yourself, brother? Whatever you're willing to share, of course, and tell us a little bit about the MaxETH project and team and stuff, and what's been going on with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Cody. And I was not a part of the original MaxETH team that like launched the coin, but we a group of us that know each other through Ben Cohen's Into the Cryptoverse kind of saw it when it launched, and we grew to follow Max. Max because Bitcoin, for those who haven't seen him before, on Twitter and YouTube and stuff. He makes a lot of like educational content about crypto and specifically in the meme coin space. And we kind of liked his vibe, his mission. And the people that launched the coin originally were kind of just serially launching things and then, dumping them. And so I think MaxETH got all the way down to like 20K market cap, or like maybe below that, maybe like 15K or something. But we had been buying it kind of on the way down, and kind of had this belief that like, if Max's thesis played out related to like the boys club, he's kind of spearheaded Andy, and I know now he's got good relationships with Keck from Wolf, that if those kind of took off, then we could kind of ride that wave. And we went from that like 20K market cap to like 35 million. And then
yeah, that was a crazy run, man. That was an amazing time.
Yeah, I mean, just the X's, I don't even know, that was insane. And so, yeah, there's me and there's another couple of folks on there, Scott and MP and Jeets, as they kind of go by. And
Vegeta.
Yeah, exactly. I think most of them are West Coast. I'm over here East Coast, but yeah. So we've just since, unfortunately, after the rip up, ETH has shit the bed, and we've just kind of been holding on for dear life, like I think most projects. And I think right around today we're probably at around like a 2 million market cap, but hopeful that if ETH can take off, that we can ride the wave too. And our plans for the future really like it's unique because I guess we're tied to Max, like we're tied to like a person and his community
Sure.
that he's kind of built. So that's like double edged. Like we're all tied to ETH, you know, you guys too. But
Sure.
we have this kind of extra element that I think is an advantage, but also like, you know, could, you know, if something comes out tomorrow that, you know, he scammed a bunch of people or something, which I don't think will happen
Sure.
because we've talked to him and he's a great guy. But so there's
Yeah, he
that
seems
extra
like a
level of
good actor in the space. I mean, obviously he's, you know, he's working hard to pump his bags in the boys club in general, but I mean, he seems like a pretty solid guy, I think. And he does some pretty solid TA.
absolutely. Yeah. No. And we've met with him a couple of times and I found that he's had a lot of integrity. Just through what he offers, right? All the value he adds for free, and just every time we've talked to him, he's been awesome. So I feel very good about being connected with kind of a person like him, and ultimately, I think it just kind of depends on what the market gives us, you know. So
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, it's like you said, you're kind of tied to not just ETH, but also like the boys club, and it's very much like when you see, if you actually watch all of the different boys club charts, you'll see, you know, like something like Andy, for example, will pump, you know, 30%, and MaxETH will pump like 56% or 70%. It's pretty interesting. It really does feel like, to kind of use a Maxism, like mega leveraged ETH or mega leveraged boys club in a way.
yeah, no, exactly. It's the ETH beta train has become kind of like what we, you know, have adopted. You know, we're kind of like the last piece of the puzzle, so to speak, and the final
Yeah.
highest leverage play of ETH beta. So yeah, when
Yeah.
things are going up, it's good.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. That's kind of a double-edged sword. It's kind of like, I forget which one is MSTU or whatever it is, when it was like the MicroStrategy leveraged.
Uh huh.
You know, it's like it's good, and then when price action isn't good, it's not good. You know,
Yeah.
kind of eats a little more ass on the way down, unfortunately.
I know that's right. I know.
I think I got in originally MaxETH when it started making a comeback. Same thing in one of the Into the Cryptoverse chats. I think maybe in the $136,000 range. No, actually, no. My first buy was at 36 grand. How would I remember it? But it was pretty tiny. You know, it was like $90 or something like that, $70.
Yeah.
And I think it was, maybe I tried to buy $90 and it only ended up being 70 because of slippage or something. You know, in
Right.
actual tokens. And then I bought a bunch more, and I think somewhere in that 136 range, 156. I think my last buy before kind of trying to chart support on the way down was like 250 or 300K or something. And I mean, geez, I rode that to an insane valuation.
Uh
And
huh.
because I'm retarded, I didn't take any profits. But it is what it is. It was like a crazy amount of money. I was like, oh, I could get like matching like 911 GT3 RSs. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's the thing with crypto, man. Here's what I've noticed, you know, if we're talking about things that you learn being in here, is like I know I personally have the tendency when things are up like big and you like start looking at the number, you do that, right? You start fantasizing, oh, well, like if yeah, I could buy this, and you know, if we go to this number, which I think we could, then that would be that.
Sure.
And
You start
you forget that like
extrapolating.
yeah, but you forget that like that number that the value of like your coins of that day will probably never be that value again. Like most of the time it's like either like flying up past it or it's flying down past it. Like that sort of idea that like you can lock in that price is not a
Right.
crypto reality.
Right. It's not going to just sit and plateau for a while. So you can do your thing and, like, you know, sell in small tranches. Like, but that's why
Hmm.
like those single-sided liquidity pools became such a powerful tool too. And a lot of people have shit on them, especially kind of world predicates like upwards price action. But given, you know, if you do have an inkling that you know things are returning to bullish action, and you can set some of those in advance, it can be an awesome way to take profit without totally dumping the chart, especially on something that's like very low liquidity.
100%. Well, I mean, I think Base Pepe was like a great example of that on their way up. I mean, they were at
Yeah.
almost 200 million market cap, and like had things not, kind of dumped just market wise, like I think it could have kept climbing. And you have to
Yeah.
believe that people in there were, I mean, that's at least where I first learned about the single side LPs. Like,
100%.
so people were doing it. Like, I do think there's no way, to
Dude,
100%
the chart was
cleanly
like a
exit.
stairway.
Uh-huh.
And that's why. And people are like, is this a honey trap? They're like, I'm looking at this chart and like, what the fuck's wrong with it? And it's like, well, because people are CLPing out profits, and it works amazing. Like all it is instead of a sell on Dex Tools or Dex Screen or whatever, it's just liquidity's been removed, and it doesn't affect anything negatively. Like, it's a brilliant way to do it, and it's not
Yeah.
any kind of scam. Like, nobody's getting boned on it. It just works really well.
100%.
Thank you, Uniswap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then, yeah, I just think people don't even realize that that is a thing, right? Like most projects, I've not seen talking about that in, the TGs or anything like that. Base
Yeah.
Pepe was the first time I heard people really talking about that. And it was like, this is like, why don't more people do this? I just think a lot don't know.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have, unfortunately, I mean, probably after the sort of flash in the pan of DeFi summer and that stuff, I think a lot of people have not like a negative relationship or connotation to DeFi, but they just like, they don't trust it. And they're like, yeah, so I'm going to put all my money in this Uniswap thing. And then like, is it safe? I think that we like to think of ourselves and most of the people that participate in crypto as these sort of, tech savvy whatnot, but like most people really just want to like, can I just fucking buy it with my credit card on Coinbase or whatever, and
Yeah.
not dig into the figuring out. And like, geez, even people that I thought were pretty well put together, like I was on like Telegram voice calls trying to help people get through how to place a single-sided like pool, how to do CLP, and like maybe most people are just a lot dumber than I thought. I don't know, because they just couldn't fucking get it. I'm like, bro, you just go in Dex Tools or whatever the fuck you want to use, and or Dex Screen or whatever, and it's like, okay, you just set your, like, if you want to swap it to ETH, for example, like you just set your chart in whatever the name, like the token / ETH, and then you say, okay, here's this level where I want to start taking profits. Here's the level where I want those profits to stop being taken. Here's how much of my stack I'm putting into this pool. I'm going to put 10% into the pool, and at a $5 million or whatever the valuation against ETH is, and then from that point up to 10 or whatever, so it has to, in a 100% move against ETH, it's going to swap me all out in a linear fashion, to ETH. And then they're just like, I don't get it. Like, watch this video. One of the guys that was in Base Pepe, Juxta the Poser, that guy did a good video on YouTube, and I thought it was really clear and easy to understand. And it was like 13 minutes. And then people were like, dude, that video is so long. I'm like, what in the fuck? Am I just old? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm too old to like realize that this stuff is a short attention span thing now.
Yeah. I think people are just lazy.
That's true, brother.
Just send it in a GPT to summarize this video.
Yeah, right. Have y'all seen this is so out of left field, but like I saw a video of like, like those videos where it's like a clip from a podcast or something audio wise, and then like the graphic is like Minecraft, like someone jumping around and like the
all the
text
time,
is showing up.
dude.
Yeah. So somebody has made something like that for like kids in school to like import like their notes and like brain rot their way to study. Like they're like,
No,
Brain
like
rot your way to success.
Apparently,
It's
a good way to
insane.
make money. Yeah, there's not many accounts doing it. So, any of my entrepreneurs out there listening, go start some educational content.
It's kind of a cool, like mental hack for the new wave of ADHD autists, right?
No, it's great.
Yeah.
Really, I thought it was genius. Like so much better than just brain rot. I've still got that element to it, but
I saw a video the other day. I think it was like I don't know, it was probably an Instagram reel or something. But it was this guy's like, here's how I make money on TikTok. Where it was like, first, I just find some random bullshit story. Like, let's say it's like a story about some lady getting, like a horror story or whatever. and then I have ChatGPT do this, and I make audio, and then I take like some video footage of blah blah blah. Same shit. It's like he was just like explaining how to make these fucking brain rot like TikTok clips, and he's like, I make like $5,000 a week. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm in the wrong job, man.
Yeah. Yeah, nowadays there's all sorts of that crazy stuff. And one with AI, you can just have it do everything.
Yeah, right, exactly. Generate audio based on text and this and that, and now obviously the AI video stuff's getting a lot better. Still not as accessible, like to be able to make full length clips like that and make them look halfway decent, but they look pretty psychedelic, honestly.
Very. Have y'all seen the one? I saw one after the Pope died, where with JD Vance like next to the Pope, like because he like visited him like the day he died, I think, or the day before.
Right,
And
everyone's like, they killed the Pope.
yeah, dude, it's very fever dreamy. Like the AI stuff is very creepy.
I have not seen that. Should
I'll
send
send it
to
to you
me.
after, Willie. I will.
It sounds intriguing.
Yeah, I will. I will. This one's not as
That's
intense,
good.
but it's funny.
Yeah. What have you been doing outside of the cryptoverse, man?
Yeah, so I just got done hitting golf balls. I know
Oh,
you're
hell
a
yeah.
little bit of a golfer too.
Yeah, I hit some balls the other day.
Very
Went
nice.
golfing yesterday. Yeah, had a great first few holes, and then kind of sucked in the middle, and then ended up with two nice pars for 17 and 18. And then I went, and I'm like, man, I just can't hit this driver right now. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then I go and hit some balls at the driving range after, smoked every single one like perfectly.
Isn't
Okay,
that amazing?
it's just like my head on the tee box. I'm like, I've got to do this special thing, and I have to make sure to swing into out, and da da da. And then my brain just bones me, I think.
Dude, it's insane. Like I've had so many good range sessions, and then the next day go play, and it's like the feel is completely not there.
Yeah, I
It's
think we just
hard, man.
put ourselves into the wrong mindset. It's like, okay, now it matters. Instead of just like, oh, I'm just going to smack these range balls out here. You know, it's
100%. Getting tense over the ball on the course, like doing
yeah,
that. I got to give it that extra little oomph, right? I got to give
right.
it
Yeah,
that.
I'm going to step on this one.
Uh-huh.
No, you're
And
not.
then
You're going to
chunk.
stop it.
Yeah,
Yeah, or chunk it. Yeah. I have
100%.
a set of blades that I love to play with, and my buddy's like, "Why do you play blades, dude? They're so unforgiving." I'm like, "Bro, they don't care. I don't care if it's the biggest, fattest game improvement iron. Like, if I choose behind the ball, it's not gonna go very well. Like, if I chunk something, like I'd rather just play these because they're super consistent for the most part. They're pretty. I like the look of them. It's like, you know, like would I drive a really super nice car, like some kind of really cool Ferrari? I would love to. Am I going to be able to drive it as well as like you know, Michael Schumacher? No.
I feel that. I feel that. I don't have the courage for the blades.
What do you
You're
play?
a braver man than me. I
Have
don't
you
even.
tried them?
I've never hit blades, no. But I even watched. You watch
Yeah,
YouTube,
dude. Yeah,
like you know Grant Horvat.
yeah.
So I think even he switched off of blades. He was like, dude, like I'm not even hitting blades. Like so
He
in
was
my mind,
playing
I'm
790s for a while, and those are
yeah
like
he
game improvement.
yeah. So like I just know for me, um, I've had the same irons for a while. I don't know when I get the next ones. If I get new ones, I'll probably get Tacomas just to support the boys.
Sure.
But I I have like a kind of I don't even know what numbers they are. But they're reasonably forgiving. They're cavity backed. And you know I've had them for like 15 years. So I don't know. They do what I need. Um,
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, that's a good value proposition. It's like most people spend a lot of money on equipment that really doesn't help them. So you know, if you're having fun and you're enjoying it, you don't need to buy new clubs.
that's kind of where my head's at. That's where my
Yeah.
head's at. So I'm trying since I've been back in the country. I think you knew maybe I was in Colombia for a little bit.
No, I didn't. What are you doing down there?
I was living down there for like 2.5 years.
Holy
Um,
shit! No, I didn't realize
yeah,
that.
yeah, it was pretty cool. Was
How was
doing
that?
it was awesome. I was in Medellin for most of it. It's
Okay.
beautiful, low cost of living, people very friendly.
Is that
That's where Pablo's from.
or Pablo Escobar?
Yeah. You've seen Narcos, you know about Medellin.
You know, I actually
Um,
haven't ever watched it. I don't know why.
it's not great. I mean, I lost interest in the first season, but I'm not a big series guy. Like, I get bored. I think most series, the concept can be great, and then at some point they lose their way, and then I just,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, for sure. You feel like they're trying to milk it for another season a lot of times, especially on things that aren't based on reality.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's like, okay, I feel like you guys are just sort of writing your way through the series to figure out how at the end you can make it like go for another season. And I'd
Yeah,
rather have like a fairly concise story that actually works and like has an ending within a reasonable time.
that's exactly right. No,
After that, I'm like, okay, bro. Like,
yeah, no, that's the thing, right? Is it becomes about just like making as many episodes as you can. I mean, I think the perfect example of modern like media garbage is just like any movie that Netflix puts out is trash. Like maybe there's like a
it's
one out of like a
pretty bad,
hundred. Yeah, like maybe one out of 100 is watchable. But they just think that the
right?
average person is so dumb. It's like the fast food of media, right? Like let's just
Yeah,
like make a bunch of content and they'll eat it up.
right.
It's
Make it cheap
atrocious.
and shitty, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll just gobble it up, dude. 100%. Yeah, I
100%.
tease my wife because like she watches like I call it trash TV.
Yep.
And so it'll just be like some series that's episodic. Like each episode, there might be some sort of underlying storyline, where one character is like searching for like a lost family member or whatever. But then each episode is basically just its own thing, and it's just
Uh-huh.
like it's just fucking garbage, rinse and repeat. Like it's the same thing every time. I'm like, why do you like this shit? Like I don't know. I can't do it, man. I can't. I just gotta do something productive
Yeah. You seem to be like an
or go hit
active
golf
guy,
balls.
Willie. Yeah. I feel like you like to be active.
Yeah, I think it's like, to be honest, it's probably like deep seated feelings of inadequacy, as a child or something like that, right? It's like having productive parents, and you're like, oh, fuck, if I'm not doing something, then that's a problem. Like, I need to be productive or I don't deserve to live. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like big shoes to fill.
I love that. We went deep all out of nowhere. I love that, Willie. Yeah, I mean, definitely could be. All sorts of all sorts of stuff gets programmed in. I mean, like when you look at the really successful people and like financially speaking, people that have like, really successful businesses and stuff that are working like crazy, crazy hours, most of them had really not great childhoods. Like either like
Yeah,
parents died or like they've got to prove to their parents, look, I am valuable. Look at me. Or, like they were bullied or like just all these things, right? And so like even
for
though they
sure.
have things that they're occupying their time with and like the world is like look at you, you're so successful, they're not at peace, like the majority of them.
Oh,
You see them.
100%, dude.
Yeah, so it's, I don't know, I think everyone's kind of battling through different things and trying to find something to to cope basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been into like all sorts of different hobbies. At one point I was into bodybuilding, and like there was I remember reading a thing, and I don't know who it was from. It was from but it was more about mindset and about like happiness with progress and stuff, and kind of joy in the journey. And
Hmm.
he's like, I've got all these clients. If I could just have a six pack, then I'd be happy. And no, fucking 99.9 out of 100, when they get the six pack, now there's something else that they're unhappy with. Like it's not like happiness is a mindset, and it's an accepting of like your current state and and obviously you don't have to just be happy with your current state if it's not good. But just trying to enjoy the present moment instead of always saying I have to push for the next thing. That's definitely been something in my life that I've had to work on, is not going like, okay, I need to, all right, cool, I got this milestone. Like that's been a difficult thing for me to do, is to just enjoy a win. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, you hear it again from like great people that like, you know, winning is not as satisfying as like losing is awful. Like they hate losing more
Sure.
than they enjoy winning.
Yeah, that's true.
It's super common.
It's a good
Uh,
quote.
yeah, like I feel that in myself. Like I don't like to lose at things. But yeah, I think I forget who said it, but like someone was talking about how like who said that like you're supposed to be happy all the time. Like that
Yeah,
expectation that you should be happy.
that's bananas.
Yeah, like what who said like you should always be happy like that? Because yeah, it's fleeting. Meaning is more
Yeah,
is more substantive than chasing pleasure and happiness. But I think what's hard now, I notice it in myself, because I'm at the back end of millennials. I'm 29. Um, is like we have so many distractions or like cheap, easy dopamine that you can just like dine on, for lack of a better term. Like every day, you can just like
oh,
plug
totally.
in veg, and so like that, in the example you gave, for your wife, like she likes like a series like that, and that's kind of just like something she can use to turn off. For me, like YouTube, I do that, or whatever.
Sure.
Like we have all these different things, and it's never been so easy, I don't think, for like all of us to just like distract ourselves.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
there's a book that somebody wrote, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, called like Amusing Ourselves to Death. Um,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's such a good sort of description of, the world
Yeah,
in the 2020s.
yeah. I just watched the second Gladiator movie, which I thought was okay. I mean, it wasn't as good as the first one, but a lot of people, I think, shit on it. I mean, it was that bad. But it's very much, I mean, the fall of Rome, and this extreme kind of, not like opulence necessarily, but just, yeah, like pleasure and entertainment to such a degree that it really just destroys their society. I mean, you know, that is, I think that's probably coming for America
Oh, 100%.
sooner
So let me
rather than
ask you a
later.
question about that. Do you think it's a kind of a coordinated effort for the whole bread and circuses thing?
Coordinated effort, like to placate, sort of like an opium for the masses.
Exactly.
I think so. I think that um, there's a great. I don't know if it was a quote from a particular person or if it was just like kind of an interview question or whatever. It was something like somebody asked Lamborghini, like, "Why don't you guys have any television commercials for your vehicles?" Like, because our customers don't watch TV. I
Yeah.
think that lands pretty hard to me, because it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like the people that go to like Bilderberg group, meetings and stuff like that, and the Klaus Schwabs of the world, and and all kind of powerful families and stuff that go way back. And it had these roots in politics and extreme amounts of money and gold and blah blah blah. Like these people aren't consuming Netflix media. These people are out there creating media, and it's like there's a reason why we call TV programs. They're very capable of programming people, I believe.
Oh, 100%. I think when I look at modern media, so again, like your Netflixes and all this stuff, that is like, and this isn't like maybe that controversial to take, but like it is so obviously propaganda. Like
Oh,
like
for sure.
nowadays, the idea that like propaganda, like that's where, and not to go super political, but like, and I'm not the biggest Trump guy in
Oh,
the
that
world,
brother.
but
Yeah,
like,
say what you want.
but like the idea that like he is Hitler and all this, all the hyperbole around Trump,
Right.
for he's got
Hilarious.
problems, he got whatever. But it's like the people that will say that will also watch these series that like you watch a second of, and all the like DEI stuff and like modern feminist stuff and like LGBT stuff, like all of that stuff is it's so heavy handedly put into it that like
Oh,
if
totally.
you're if you're not bought in on that, you look at it and you go like, what even is this? But if you're a
Yeah.
part of it, you're blind to it. So it's like that for me. It's just crazy that nowadays, like, I don't know how more people aren't aware of like how propagandized all of the media, all the garbage that they put on is for us.
Yeah. It's like some of my family members have this kind of mindset of like, oh, these billionaires are the problem, and they've been sold that pack of lies, and they've bought hook, line, and sinker. And it's like, no, just because Jeff Bezos is this rich doesn't mean that you can't go out and be a productive member of society and also gain quantity of wealth if you put your mind to it and you work really hard. He hasn't cornered the market on getting rich, and he doesn't have a responsibility to pay for any of your shit just because he has a lot of money. Like, that's a stupid fucking way to think about the world. But unfortunately, they've bought it. They've oh yeah, this is unfair for this person to have this amount of money, and they'll fucking buy shit off Amazon. And what the fuck?
100%. Well, like for me, living in Colombia was like a very good eye opener in that sense, right? Where like people in the US will complain from their MacBook Pros, right, and their iPhones about the evils of capitalism. Where I go to, you know, my wife is from Brazil,
from
or
my
some
iPhone. I'm
yeah.
against child labor in China. Sent my iPhone.
Exactly. My wife's from Brazil. I was in Colombia for a while, and people there, I had conversations with both of them that where it's like these entitled American, you know, a lot of them college educated liberals that are sitting there whining about all this stuff when they've never experienced like real corruption, real poverty, like real, like all these things. It's laughable to them. But it's hard if someone's never experienced that and they're just being told, you know, in school, America is this racist, evil, you know, capitalist hellhole. Like we live, like if you live in the US in 2025, you won the lottery like a million times over.
Dude.
Like if you were born in any other time period of history, even dude, like 100 years ago. I know Jordan Peterson used to always talk about like 100 years ago, in like the 1900s, the beginning, the average American lived on the equivalent of $1 a day in today's money. Like people were barely surviving.
Right.
And that it's insane, man. It's that old, you know, good times make weak men make bad times make good men or strong men, whatever. Right? We're in that cycle right now.
And right. Yeah, good times make weak men, and the cycle continues.
Exactly. So I mean, that's what I see. But so to tie it kind of back to crypto, like I think a lot of people in crypto, you know, obviously it skews male and younger, and I think it skews risk taker and people that are looking for sort of independence and willing to take risks, right?
100%.
When you filter, like most people, I mean, how many people? I bet everyone on this call at some point bought Bitcoin or was like in, you know, crypto and was trying to tell other people in their life, hey, you should buy Bitcoin, and people just looked at them like, no, dude, like you're stupid, like what are you talking about?
That's going to zero. It's a scam. Right.
100%.
2012, man, trying to get my family to freaking buy it, you know.
R.I.P. 2012, man.
You
were a pioneer, Jake.
That's what the dark web got to explain it all, and they didn't want to hear it.
It's how it is, though. But like that's how society is, right? Like that's how people are.
No,
the masses only jump on it.
Exactly. A lot of people take much longer for them to convert, right? To do that first buy.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it all depends on what you view as a risk. Like, how do you view risk? I know, like, Nassim Taleb's an asshole, but like he's got some interesting takes about like sort of taking asymmetric bets. And I think crypto, especially like in the meme coin space, that's what we're trying to do is we're taking asymmetric bets. We're saying if I've got $10,000 and I put $500 in 20 different things or $1,000 in 10 different things, I'm okay with 8 of them going to zero, one of them staying about the same or doubling or tripling, and then one of them going up like 25 times. Like
Sure.
that to me is less risky. And I know some people would be like, what do you even, how could you say that? But like, that's less risky than working like a job that you hate and just contributing to your 401k and just like living like this life that you're just like not okay with for the rest of your life. Like I don't know. I think that's kind of a
Well, and those
crypto ethos.
people, yeah, and there's people that are like, isn't that a scam? While they're sitting at the slot machine getting fucking next bet,
Mm-hmm. Well, like
And it's
sports
like,
betting.
yeah, sure. Similar.
Yeah. I've never. That's one I've never gotten into, the sports betting. But people that will blow thousands of dollars on games that are literally just a coin flip won't then invest in something where it's like, hey, there's like a narrative here, and it could be built and like whatever. It's just
Right.
crazy the way people think.
I think I think a big part of that is what we talked about people just being lazy too, like being lazy and kind of dumb. It's
Yep.
like I could bet on this thing that is there's a huge dopamine rush. You're also getting to enjoy watching a game while it's happening, and then if you win, it's
Mm-hmm.
like mega rush, right? Versus having to actually become educated or educate myself. And I mean, that's, I think, one of the reasons why some of like Pump Fun and memes did get blow up is because it's a little bit more of that gambling mentality where people could just send like $100 here and there, $5 here and there, and kind of throw those random seeds out there and see what sprouts, instead of actually having to like, oh, well, what is this product? What does it do? How do I interact with it? Like, how do I actually use this wallet? How do I do this DeFi thing? So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of it. It's like, it's just so easy for them to place a bet, and also there's no personal responsibility attached to it. People are not big on that. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I can just go, oh, well, if I lost, it wasn't my fault. It was because this guy didn't make that 3 point or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like, well, I bought this crypto thing, so like, because I did the research, and then it goes to shit, it's like, well, it's my fault,
Right.
We talked about this a little bit with Base Giga being sort of polarizing because we try and strive for that, self-improvement and stuff. And that isn't popular
Right.
nowadays. So I think the whole crypto thing is also sort of emblematic with that, is people don't really want to try and sit down and learn and understand it. They would rather just, like you were saying, pump fun, just throw it everywhere and,
Right, gamble.
treat it like it's a slot machine.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We kind of made our whole credo, like our ethos, one of personal responsibility and growth. And it's like, it's been a bit of a tough sell, I think, in this atmosphere, and but I think that I'd rather do something for the right reasons and the right way, and just let the chips fall where they may, I think.
100%. That's the only way things ever actually like take off and go big. Like, is when you're bought in, when you can create, a cult they like to talk about in the crypto space, right? But I think beyond that, it's just like, if you don't believe what you're selling, like no one else will, and that's why all these
Oh,
little
100%.
knockoff cryptos, like, they don't last at all because people don't actually believe in them.
Yeah, like Elliot or whatever. I
Oh,
don't know
dude,
why I
yeah.
like to shit on Elliot. It's basically like a Brett ripoff, kind of, like Brett's
Yeah.
cousin or something. I mean, shit like that. It's like, why are we doing that, guys?
I think
It doesn't exist.
I lit like $250 on fire for Elliot.
Well, sometimes those are kind of fun to gamble on, just because it's like, well, I think this is an absolute shit product, and if it explodes, I can extract some value from it. So fuck it, like, and then bring it back home to something good, Bitcoin or whatever.
Well, so what's interesting to me, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I almost have had a hard time, and I'm not actively, today looking for the new gems and stuff. I'm kind of holding what I've got and waiting for the market to turn. But like, I find it almost hard in the research phase because like I think basically everything is retarded. Like every new meme that people like launch are like, oh, this is this and it's related to that, and like Elon tweeted this, and I'm like, I think this is all so stupid. Like I don't actually buy into it. And that's not to say there aren't ones that like aren't legit and like don't have meaning or whatever. It's just so hard for me. And then I think I've realized for me it becomes hard to then sell some of the things, because it's like if I didn't believe in it on the buy, then how do I have the right amount of conviction to know when to sell or if to sell, right? It's sort of like, I don't know, I'm just kind of here. I've got this thing, and they say it's going to go up.
You're like, maybe I'm wrong.
Right.
Maybe my judgment's poor. No, I think
Exactly.
There's a couple of launch pads that we are kind of friends with, and or I should say one main launch pad. But yeah, all the shit that comes out of there, I feel like is just kind of, I don't know. I mean, I'm like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
Like, why does it exist?
Yeah.
All the little
What's
like meadows and meta for the money, it's weird stuff for sure. You never know what's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like 90% of stuff launched is just fucking rugs, like waiting to happen. Like everything seems like it's a CTO now, right? Like we're a CTO because people that actually had a vision, got together to create a real team, and instead of just someone being like, oh, I'll launch a beta of something, like I don't understand. I mean, I guess it's just kind of sort of predatory nature of a lot of people in the gambling space, I think it's probably
100%. Well, back to what Jonathan was saying earlier, like about, taking personal responsibility and all of that. I just think it's so funny, like when you look at like the way people operate, like think of like Lizzo and some of these like people that when they're coming up, right? It's like Lizzo is beautiful, right? Like you have to say Lizzo's beautiful. It's like this overweight,
or you're
like
a bigot.
right? Or like Adele, like early on, like all these people, and then guess what? Like Ozempic comes out. There's a cheat code now, a shortcut for
Just
getting.
FYI, I would have smashed chunky Adele if she would have sang to me. But proceed.
Fair, to each their own. But like, point being, like all of the fat positive people, right? All the people that it's like, no, like love yourself, right? I think love yourself is one of the worst lies that that exists nowadays. But it's just like, love yourself. You're perfect the way you are. It's like, no, like you're not. But as soon as the option came to like opt out of being like, in this case, being like fat, people said, yep, sign me up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't have to work for this. Like, there's no self-discipline or self-control involved. Cool.
Right.
Like,
do you know what is?
What was that, Willie?
Wait, I couldn't hear you there.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. Like, it cut out for a second.
Oh, okay. Do you know what Ozempic is?
And like, I know on a very, very basic level. I don't know like the specifics. I know that it's supposedly like messing up the bone density and like muscles of these people.
Yeah, it's fucking people up really bad. Osteopenia, osteoporosis, or whatever. So I just saw this the other day online. I haven't done the research to know if it's true or not, because I don't care, because I'm not going to take this shit anyway. But they said it's GLA1 or something is like the kind of designation for it. They said it's Gila monster venom. Those fucking poisonous lizards from like the Mojave Desert or wherever the fuck. Gila monster venom.
It's amazing.
Isn't that insane?
Nature is wonderful. I love nature.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely doing a good job of smoking all these lazy people, I guess.
Hey, can you smoke that shit?
Probably. You can probably freebase some Gila monster venom. I bet
Why
Richard
not?
Pryor's tried it.
Actually, yeah, now that's a new thing. Willie, you got to get some Gila Monster meat and give us a barbecue update.
Yeah, that's a beat.
I like
Gila
it.
monster.
DMT and Gila monster venom.
This is so wild. Gila monster. I gotta Google this. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. I think they're kind of like black and orange, if I remember right. Good of a chunky lizard.
I'm just imagining from like holes.
Right. Yeah.
You guys
I haven't
remember
thought about that movie in ages? Yeah, dude. All I remember is there was like a bunch of lizards and shit or something, and then something about onions.
Yeah. There's just like a lot of quotes in there. I could fix that.
It's been a
Let me
long
see.
time since
Oh,
I've
the
seen
goodness, this thing looks wild. Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But not like I think people just that's kind of the makeup though, right? Is it's like
Easy
another
button.
example. Yeah, easy button. Like I remember hearing it was in like an audiobook or something like way back when that like inventions that waste time have always sold way better than inventions that save time. So like
Oh, interesting.
the TV waste time versus like the vacuum cleaner.
Wow.
Sure.
Like, yeah, because and it makes sense, right? Because reality is hard. Like, I think we're just looking for any out we can. And so, people kind of take that whichever way is most,
Easier.
yeah.
That's definitely a mind opener.
Yeah, it is definitely easier to do little. I'm a big fan of like the quote, or not the quote, but just like telling people to like love yourself, right? But not in the same way I think that you despise it, in kind of the opposite, like, or not the opposite, but just in very a tangential way, like love yourself as a fat person that doesn't ever try to do anything to help themselves be healthy. No, like that's no, fuck that. But like people, I know so many people that like they can't just be alone with their thoughts. They can't just enjoy peaceful solitude like within their own mind, because I feel like they don't really love themselves. Like they don't allow themselves to be happy with where they're at. They don't, like, I don't know. I think it's like a lack of self-esteem. And a lot of these are people that have good reasons, in my opinion, to be proud of themselves, or at least to be, like content in many ways. But yeah, I think there's definitely a huge problem, like you said, with like the whole kind of like dad bod thing. Like that pisses me off. And like, what the fuck is this? These are just like paunchy dudes with skinny arms. Like, why? Because you're dad, you have to look like you are on diabetes medication. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Sure. Absolutely.
I think
And
there's
my dad's like, "You've never been a dad, so you don't know." And I'm like, "Fuck you." Okay, no, that doesn't make any difference. I still understand how difficult it is to be healthy and eat right. Like, regardless of if you're running around chasing kids, you should be even healthier. You should be skinny. Those little motherfuckers never stop running.
I love
I
it.
think a lot of this issue that you guys were talking about with the whole love thing, I really do think one of my opinions is it all stems from English being a terrible language for this, because we wrap up so many different things with that single word of love.
Mhm.
Oh, sure.
And like, what is it? The Greeks had what was it, 8 different words for love, what we compartmentalize into a single word, and now we're supposed to, depending on how you use it, it means it's something completely different. I think that's done a great amount of damage into our entire culture, is at least of how we view things. Like, I love this show, I love all these things is weird. It's weird to me.
No, that makes a
100%.
lot of sense. Oversimplification of like dialect and a lack of, yeah, I mean, people just don't have a great vocabulary nowadays.
No,
Well,
exactly right.
What, you don't like Riz? You don't like mid?
I do like mid, actually. That's a great abbreviation.
That's
The other day I
that's
went
my
and got a
next
burger, and it was mid for sure.
Word.
that's my next linguistic rant, is how we are dumbing down it even further, where we can't even pronounce two syllables or more. Unironically, the most advanced word that we have nowadays is skibbity. It's 3 syllables. Find me another
Even
Gen
know.
Z word that has more than 2 syllables.
Can someone tell me what skibbity means? I'm too old to understand it. I've never been written into it.
Scott, you want to take this as our resident our resident
Come on,
Zoomer.
Scott. We need you now. Now's your
I don't
time to
even
shine.
know it. I'm the youngest one here, and I don't know it. I'm Gen Z.
Oh, come on. Oh, come on. He's saving face now.
Nah, my baby cousin might know it though. I don't know it.
All right. I'm about to school you
Meaning.
guys on some skibbity right here.
Let's go.
Please.
So, at least from my understanding, Skibbity came from a YouTube series of called Skibbity Toilet, and it's a guy who made these animated videos of Half-Life 2. What I think it's the G-Man or whatever. His head comes out of a toilet and starts singing some song, and then it became each episode, which was like, I don't know, less than a minute. It got more and more complex, and it became this big production of fighting the cameramen. So it became this big story with no dialect and just this dumb little meme, and it blew up into something, and everyone loved it. So now Skibbity is just a universal adjective. It can mean anything, really. Like if you say you got Skibbity Riz, that could be good. But if you said you have Skibbity Ohio Riz, that could be bad because Ohio is a bad adjective.
Ohio?
Oh yeah, Ohio is the worst.
Like Ohio? I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, I love Ohio, but Zoomers hate Ohio.
Grammy lives in Cincinnati. So.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's just like the newer slangs just get lazier and lazier. Like
Right.
it's like how short can we? And I feel like I used to smoke a lot of weed. I don't smoke weed anymore. I definitely think you can put some of it on weed. Like I like being around kids that are high all the time, and just like everything. I don't know, like if people around you said bet, but like when I remember
dude,
being around
yeah.
just like kids, everything's just like bet facts. Just like one word, like baked, lazy answers.
Right.
And it's just like people they don't know how to communicate anymore.
Right.
It's all so weird, man. Like, have y'all had this experience where like you're at like a store or like a restaurant and you've got like a Gen Z server or like the cashier and they just have like zero social skills, or they're
100%, dude.
actively on their phone while they're like working?
Yeah. My wife and I went and bought a motorcycle for her at a Triumph dealership. She got a Triumph Trident 660, which is like a middleweight 3-cylinder sport, kind of, standard bike. And the whole time I'm like, bro, do you just want me to do your fucking job for you? Like, this is the worst. I don't know if the guy was like currently on heroin and he was going to like shoot up like in between talking to me. But I would ask him a question about the bike or like, making a deal or whatever. He'd be gone for like, he'd be like, not sure. I gotta go and find that out. And then he'd come back like 30 minutes later and he just looked tired. And I'm like, what in the fuck are we doing here? But yeah, I've had a lot of experiences like that. It's insane. Or yeah, like you say, just bad social skills. Like what happened? Is this like because people got fucking locked in during COVID? It can't be just that.
No, I think there's a mixture. But like, we can't appreciate, Willie, like what it's like to be like serially online from the time you're like a child. Like
that is true.
Like I got a Facebook at like 13 and I was still out like playing sports and doing different stuff. And so like I'm like right on the cusp. But like growing up from like the time you're young and like having that, I don't know if have y'all seen there's a video of like like this Asian kid who's like 6 years old, like maybe even younger. He's probably younger, but he's like sleeping and he's like clearly distressed and he's like scrolling. He's doing the scrolling motion from an iPad.
Oh my god!
Like while asleep. Yeah, while asleep.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrifying. There's a really interesting person to look into for this if y'all haven't like heard of him or don't know about him, but Jonathan Haidt. He's at NYU. I think he's a social psychologist. And he's very big on like what he calls like a play-based childhood and how like instead of a screen-based childhood, that's kind of like what you have nowadays. And he looked at like all the data from like Facebook and like
Sure.
different social medias and like Instagram specifically, and how it's caused like massive increases in like suicidality and depression, specifically amongst like
dude.
preteen girls.
Anxiety.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like all of that, spending all your time there. And like what he talks about is how like when we were growing up, right? Like if I make like a bad joke or something, if I say the wrong thing and I'm just with my friends hanging out and you're like, hey man, that was messed up, you shouldn't say that. Then I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. And then I move on. But if you post something online at like 15 years old that like you weren't allowed to, like that can literally end your life. Like some of these kids literally will commit suicide afterwards. Like a photo
That's
or like
crazy.
a post will come up. Yeah, it's like you need, basically what he says is like if you can't have time to like play and make mistakes without the fear of like the world coming crashing down, then you won't fully ever become like a normal person. Like you have to be able to play and mess up, or else like you're kind of cooked, to use some Gen Z.
You're right. Yeah. That brings me to an important point that we have to make here. So this is our normally scheduled commercial announcement to our valued listeners. When you're done listening to this, please go outside, touch grass, try to make yourself 1% better every day. Now back to the show.
Love that, Willie.
Definitely not good to be just sitting on YouTube for fucking 19 hours straight. Like, yeah, I remember my nieces and nephew would just watch YouTube videos all the time. They'd just like watch people playing Minecraft, and I'm like, wait, don't you have Minecraft? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, why the fuck would you choose to watch someone else play it instead of play it yourself? Like, I don't understand what's happening right now. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's because you're old, Willie.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
I got gray pubes and everything to prove it. I think it's too like.
About that.
What was that?
And me and my buddy talked about that. His son loves to watch him like play video games, and he tries to get his son to play it. But like the biggest disconnect is they're bad, and they want to see more. So they would, especially for the younger kids,
Sure.
that don't have the capability to play through the game. They would rather just watch, right?
Like why we like to consume stories, because we aren't writing them in a way, right? Like to watch a movie because it's like we don't have the creativity to actually create that in a way.
Yeah, but I think it is a weird concept, especially as you see the older kids, like teenagers, who can be playing those video games but still choose to idolize the big streamer.
Yeah. Well, and all these Twitch
I don't know. I don't see it.
I
don't see that as a weird thing.
What?
You have like, as far as like the people who play the video games watching that's just a different type of like commentary and everything. Sports commentary and just commentary on anything has been around forever. It's just a different medium that they're commentating on.
I mean, it does, like if you have a favorite sports, you're on a specific team or whatever, you start to follow them, right?
Yeah. I mean, what's that one guy who's always on? Isn't that one guy like always on the front page of YouTube, like Steven Smith or something? He's just a sports guy who talks about sports. I mean, it's the same exact kind of thing.
Sure.
You guys were just talking about some golfing YouTuber. It's like, why are you watching a guy play golf? Why don't you go play golf?
Yeah.
Right. I think if all you did is like watch some, like if that's like the vast majority of your time, like that's to me very, very strange.
Well, everything in moderation, obviously.
Right.
What I think is just weird.
That's a good point, I suppose. I think it can be also sort of sometimes kind of like it can inspire, like you said, it's like they like to watch it because they're not good enough to do it to that level. Jake, like that's a good point. Or was that? Yeah. And I think that can be the same thing with just about anything.
100%.
Golf or otherwise.
Look, I'm just trying to get you to stop crapping on my Twitch career, okay?
I want to see you succeed, Donathan.
Yeah, I want to succeed.
Are you on Twitch, Donathan?
No, it's just a joke.
No, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it's not a problem just to do it, and it's not even like I find comfort in it. I think like if you like some activity and other people are better than you, like cool. I just think what's weird is when like kids are basically being raised by like streamers. Like they're spending effectively all of their time with whatever, just sitting there watching some other person. And like it's just like as a parent, like I just had a daughter. Like, do you
Oh,
want
congrats, bro.
I appreciate it. But it's just like the exposure now that your kids are learning all this stuff online without the parents having any idea what it is. Like to go like,
Right.
kind of more extreme with it. Like I've only made a couple of YouTube videos way back. Maybe it's been a couple of years now, but like one of the ones I made was talking about like porn. And like, I think all of us are guys, but like I was maybe 11, 12 years old at a friend's house when I first was exposed to porn. And then like, which is crazy, right? To like the
Right.
internet and like you're like nobody knows about this. Everyone just acts like it's normal. But then like by the time I was in middle school, I had like a PSP, which was like pre-iPhone, but it had the internet on it. So I could like secretly watch porn, and I was like very addicted to porn at like 13 years old.
That's
And like
bananas, dude.
100%. But like
I feel like that's a lot of people our age.
100%. No, like nowadays, like with iPhones and iTouches and all that stuff, like I would argue it's got to be upwards of like 80%, probably more of guys.
Oh, it's
like,
definitely higher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like all of my friends I grew up with all had an addiction, and now I'm working with these older gentlemen and ladies, and I'm hearing about their kids, and their kids have it as well, and I can only imagine how much worse it is. Just having like a smart computer in your pocket at all times.
That's
Sure.
horrible. I didn't even think about that. I guess that would be why a lot of states are starting to outlaw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Because like once you open that door, you can't really shut it, and like it leads into all this other weird stuff. I mean, 1 in 5 in Gen Z are LGBTQ. Like it's gone like 1 in 5. Like you've gone. It's doubled generationally for the last like couple of generations.
That's
And like
nuts.
my kind of view on it, hot take, whatever. I think obviously porn plays in, but I also have noticed like with the weird political climate that exists in schools and stuff, where it's like super like you have to accept this and like you're not allowed to speak out about this and that, like, and like everyone's online, like we said, like if you say the wrong thing, you can be judged and whatever. And you have all these like lonely kids that are just looking for some sort of identity and belonging. And so like it's
for
like
sure.
whatever. It's just like sure, like if that'll make me like accepted, like go for it. Like I don't care. I just want someone to love me. You know what I mean? It's like I don't
Right.
just
Attention.
100%. I mean, there's no way you can tell me that 1 in 5, and then like okay, you take it down the line,
Yeah,
right?
that's
That means
staggering.
100%, and then 1 out of 5, like that now means in terms of birth rates, right? Population decline, like you're now effectively like self-selecting. All these people are self-selecting out of breeding, right? Out of having kids, and then you see like already you've got like Germany, you've got South Korea, you've got like Japan, like these other places that are going to face like population collapse. It's a really really weird, like no one's really like making a huge issue out of it, but I don't know how you can't. Like there's going to be
Yeah.
major consequences.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And like you said, there's no way the statistics, like that doesn't make sense. Like 1 in 5 kids to be some kind of gay, like that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. That's insane.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a lot probably, and it's because also I think they've essentially like I don't know if I would say like just general leftists, I don't know, globalists, I don't know,
The
whoever
globalists.
decide. Yeah, seriously. The globalists thinking the fucking fraud is great.
Exactly. I always think of he's so funny, Alex Jones.
But seriously, it's like they've made like all of basically LGBTQ a protected class in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've kind of demonized like the cis white male. It's like, oh, if you're just a regular like hetero white guy, then you've got to hate yourself now. And like they made this whole weird thing and this like big cultural sort of like tumult. And it makes people like, well, if I'm gay or if I'm whatever the fuck I choose to be on some sort of weird, pansexual thing, like I get certain benefits from them. Like they've actually made it to where it's an attractive option for people, and it's like, and kids are so malleable. There are so many people that are going to think that there's some kind of thing, and then later on be like, actually, I wasn't. It just was that like kind of made sense to me at the time, or I was looking for attention, or da da da. Like, I believe there are people that are fucking born gay, like 100%. But I think that the most of the people today that are kind of self-proclaiming as whatever one of the LGBTQs probably are choosing to be that way, and that's fine. I don't care, but it's going to have big societal ramifications, like you said, in a huge way for years.
100%. Well, it's like the TikTok stuff where like with trauma and mental illness, like all of these like it's become kind of cool to be mentally ill, like to go on and like talk about trauma and like there's all sorts of weird incentives online to having kind of to not being quote unquote normal or boring or basic, right?
Yeah.
And it's like to have a bunch of kids.
Neurodivergent is a huge word right now, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why are you guys celebrating this? Like, to be not normal? What?
Yeah. Well, because normal is bad, right? Hetero, like normal, and like what's the saying? Like, I don't remember the exact saying, but there's some saying where it's essentially like if like you see some wall like holding some stuff up, like don't go and like start taking it apart. Like there's certain things society has like developed over thousands of years that like are fundamentally necessary for like them to be functioning. Like I definitely think that like in the United States where you've got the Judeo-Christian ethic, like it's very easy to like be an atheist in a Christian country, let's say traditionally.
Oh, sure.
Being a Christian in an atheist country doesn't work, right? So what my point with that is this, like when there is an accepted and inherited kind of norms and cultural expectations like that we have for each other, that like we take care of each other and like we believe in like individual rights and like there's just some of these things that we take as like self-evident in places like the US and in the West that like you leave the US and it's like those are not self-evident, and like you can like be
take it for granted.
100%. You can be a rebellious kid and like, hey, I see through all this stuff and whatever. It's like, okay, that's easy to do when like everybody treats each other with respect within reason. It's not easy to do in a culture where they don't have that same basic kind of agreement.
Sure. Now, when you said that, like, it's not easy to be, let's say, Judeo-Christian or Catholic or whatever in like a country that doesn't have like a core religion or whatever, can you extrapolate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, look at like the Soviet Union, right, or like communist China, where like one of the first groups they go after were like the religious leaders. They just kill them all. Right.
Sure.
So those are probably the big examples, right? In the 20th century, you have these big countries that way, where they kind of wiped it out right off rip.
I had an interesting conversation with the guy about that one time. Have you ever heard of a guy named John Lovell?
I have not.
He has I haven't really followed him around much anymore, but he has created Warrior Poet Society. He's like a Green Beret, ass kicker, door kicker guy. Really,
nice.
Really intelligent. He's a warfighter for many years, and then came home and he started doing kind of like firearms training and stuff, and also like philosophy with people and blah blah blah. And I wouldn't really consider myself like specifically an atheist. I've always sort of thought of myself more of kind of like, I don't really know. It could
agnostic.
could be this. Yeah, basically agnostic, right? And I'm like, I'm just like, yeah, it could be this, could be that. But I know there's like 200 religions, and everybody thinks theirs is the right one, and blah blah blah. And but and I'm like, well, I think he said something how like these atheists have killed like way more people than blah blah blah. And he kind of pointed like you do to these like communists or whatever as being atheists, but I just don't really see atheism as their core like driving principle. Like they weren't like, in my opinion, to like not they weren't really saying, hey, we want to go and smoke everybody that's religious. They were like kind of more of a political ideology that saw a competing power in church communities, I think, and like some people that could take away their power in a way, right? Which is completely fucking evil. But like, I wouldn't describe them as atheists. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're saying essentially that's not like what they fundamentally were, right? They were
Right.
fundamentally communist that maybe happened to also be atheists. Yeah, I think what I would get at, and to tip my hand, I definitely come at I'm a Christian, so like that's where I come at things from.
Sure.
I would say it has to do with what do you ultimately believe about existence. Like, if you ultimately believe that existence is either a cosmic accident, right, or that ultimately that there's no meaning, then the world that leads to, in my view, and what I think you kind of see, is one that allows all sorts of kind of atrocities, right? And that's not to say that people in the name of religion haven't committed many atrocities. Obviously, they have, right?
Sure.
But to me, like the vision that comes with the belief in the eternal, and specifically, I kind of I don't like to argue for all religion because obviously, as a Christian, I would believe that you know Christianity is the true religion.
Sure.
And the kind of the comparison I like for that, because people, it's very common too to say there's so many, and I what is it, Ricky Gervais, I just believe in one less God than you, something like that.
Right.
um
Right. Right.
but it's like, to know a counterfeit, you don't compare to other counterfeits, you compare to an original, right? You compare to the true thing. And so, like, yeah, I think you could find different kind of belief systems that they get a little bit of this right, they get a little bit of that wrong, they get a little, you know what I mean? And like,
Sure.
but I think in the US, like, this kind of what I would say to you is like, we all have kind of inherited a society that is built fundamentally on the Judeo-Christian ethic, and
Sure.
so we get all of the benefits of that. Um,
Right.
Whereas, like I said, when you go to other cultures, you go to India, you got the caste system. You go to the Middle East, they're beheading women for driving cars, and it's just different things where it's like, okay,
Right.
what's even
You
happening
see the
here?
ramifications of a lack of that sort of cultural structure.
Exactly, exactly,
Yeah.
and it comes,
Makes a lot
and
of sense.
what I think makes it, the reason the Judeo-Christian kind of did what it did is because there's this emphasis on the individual, like the rights and the value of the individual. Um,
Sure.
Whereas that's not, again, we think that that's, everyone has that, um, but it's as soon as you start sacrificing that, which is what you see with the communists, right? It's for the good of the collective, whatever. Then things go south very, very quickly.
Yeah. I was raised Catholic, and I really I've talked about this before with the guys, and it's like one of those things where, to me, the golden rule came out as like this extremely powerful driving force in my life, and I was I was a super observant kid, and I was
Hmm.
very much like, wait a minute, like I'm watching these people, like it's the type of thing where I'm watching the parishioners come out of Catholic Mass, and it's like, okay, we're gonna get as much sinning as we can in until next Sunday, baby, and then we're gonna fucking pray it all away. And that was kind
Uh-huh.
of how I watched them kind of work. And the priests that were there, I was an altar boy for years, and no one ever got fondled or anything like that. Surprisingly, but like it was just like I got to know these guys in a better way from being around them more, watching them interact with people.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, and also in an era that I was raised in a non-distractionary kind of era, right? So like I didn't have something else to pay attention to. I wasn't looking at an iPad. I was actually watching people around me and listening to their conversations. And seeing, and of course it doesn't make a lot of sense to sort of reject any kind of teachings or like ideologies because of the sort of weaknesses of a few people. But at the same time, like I just saw these people that were supposed to be like the kind of more holy, sort of the people that are teaching you the right way and teaching about
Hmm.
religion. And I just saw the flaws in these people, and I saw like how mean they could be, and how petty, and how vindictive. And I'm just like, man, this is fucking not the way. Like this isn't what you guys are teaching, you know. And that kind of like, I'll probably get it wrong, but it's like, lift a rock and you will find me. Break a twig and I am there. Something like that, right? Like Jesus talking about,
If you search, you'll find me. Yeah.
yeah, talking about being everywhere. And one of the things that really killed religion for me as a kid was when my folks were really big into trying to get our Catholic parish to build like a very simple. We needed a different church that wasn't like breaking with, you know, like bricks and things like that falling down or whatever. And
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, let's build like a big steel building that could be like basically a gymnasium. We could do things for the kids. We could have rollout bleachers. We'd have mass. And they're all looking around like, you idiot, like that's not fancy enough. We need it to be gilded. And it was very much like Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever, or maybe the final one of those films, the Indiana Jones films, where it's like the bad guy chooses the golden goblet with all the jewels.
Uh-huh.
It's like, that's not the right choice, brother. It's the clay cup, you know? And it's like seeing that is really what killed it for me. And plus just dogmatic ideologies, you know, can be dangerous. But I definitely understand what you're saying, and especially being able to enjoy all the fruits of a country that was founded on those principles and on that sort of cultural understanding.
100%. Well, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. Like, what I had a very similar experience, although I wasn't Catholic. I grew up Protestant. I went to a Baptist church. But I think it's very common to kind of see people that are hypocrites, right? And they claim to believe X and they live this way. And you say,
Right.
I'm like, I see through this person, right? I see what they're up to. And so I kind of walked away, you could say, for a while. It took me until my early 20s to kind of reinvestigate as an adult and kind of give it like a fair like look. But I think the only thing I would say is that it's never supposed to be about dogma. And I have my own bones to pick with the Catholic Church. Like I think it makes it very works based. It's very much about what you do for God, being a good person. Where the Protestant side is much more about receiving an identity from Christ's sacrifice. So being like you can't earn it, like you can't actually do enough works to earn that. But it's supposed to be relationships based, and it's supposed to be like having a relationship with the Creator instead of like, hey, you did this thing wrong, or hey, like, you know, you didn't look, you know, good enough. And like you said, it becomes this weird, like, okay, I did my thing for the week. Now I can go off and live how I want. Which was not the intent. Not the intent at all.
No, exactly. But, you know, people, if given an easy button, you know, because, you know, back in the day, it's like, okay, it's like six Our Fathers, 10 Hail Marys, and put $50 in the collection plate and you keep fucking the nanny. You know what I mean? Kind of, in a way, you know. But the cultural homogeneity is really, I think, an enormous factor that people don't think about. And like, we have such a hard time with that in America because we're such a big melting pot, right? So I've got a friend, kind of I don't know, I would call her an acquaintance at this point, but was kind of a friend at one point, that lives in Maine. And she lives on this tiny little island in Maine. She's her partner, I should say, she's not married. Her partner is a lobster fisherman. They live on this beautiful little island, right? She was constantly posting stuff on social media about like how like, oh, these natives have gotten the short end of the stick, blah blah blah. I'm like, so are you guys going to just give all your fucking lobster boats to them now? Like, what are you doing? Like, you can't live this life. Like, that's such a silly way to be. And she talked about, at one point, she's like, I love it here. It's so beautiful and peaceful and this and that. And it's so safe and da-da-da. Because Maine is just like, it kind of has that vibe and people kind of think of it that way. And she's like, yeah, she's like, it's really cool. I love it, except for it's just nothing but white people. And she's white, right?
Right.
And I'm like, well, have you considered the fact that it's so peaceful because it's nothing but white people? And she was like, oh my God, you fucking racist prick. And she was super mad. And I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if you go to South Korea, it's literally all Korean people and it's peaceful. Mm-hmm. Like when you go to a place where everyone understands each other, it's peaceful. For the most part, right? I mean, there are definitely outliers there, but like there is such a benefit to a cultural homogeneity where these people, they speak the same language. There aren't these misunderstandings and this friction due to differences in either appearance or communication. And I think that's a huge part, like you said, of community and relationships that religion brings to the table.
Yeah, well, diversity is our strength was never true.
I agree, dude.
So I
Yeah.
want to go a little bit back to kind of what Cody said a while ago about collectivism and communism. I think it kind of fits in pretty well with what Willie just said, as far as collectivism isn't that terrible as long as you have some kind of basis for doing so. I think communism and all of that, it bases their ideology on external factors and not, internal principles. So a lot of it is, you see, anti-bourgeoisie, right? So they're not trying to achieve equality by lifting people up, but rather taking the successful down.
Sure.
And
It's
I
like
think
the anti-billionaire movement.
exactly. So it's not necessarily, I think that's a difference in just collectivism. I don't think collectivism as a whole is inherently evil. I think what we're seeing right now in like America with what Cody was saying with individualism is actually a very negative thing. People are so selfish. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are, but driving down the road and having people cut each other off just because, they're not thinking of anyone else but what they are, what they need to do, where they need to go. People are just complete a-holes when you're just walking around in public because, they only care about their own stuff. They're individuals. They don't care about anyone else, or if they're getting in other people's way, if they're doing anything like that. I think that is one of the negative aspects of becoming such a hyper individualist society that we have.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
100%. I completely agree. Yeah, like I think of to bring back like because if I try to tie it into like the Judeo-Christian thing, if you read in the book of Acts, the early church, like the very first church, so right after like Jesus dies and resurrects and all this stuff, it talks about how people were like living together essentially as communists. Like they all like sold all their stuff and like contributed to like the common good. And live together, right? Just like eating and like spending time and like singing and like all this stuff. So it was very kumbaya. And I agree. After having been in Colombia, which is much more kind of community oriented, that part is so much better in Colombia and other countries like that than in the U.S. It's much better over there.
Well, yeah.
It seems like a lot
we've
of,
been.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, it takes a village to raise a child. And now with all of these different, specializations of you have to go to different states to learn new trades. And this is where your job will be. It's more focused in, California. It's more focused in other places to kind of break apart. And that's the communism tried to break apart the nuclear family because there is strength in having, a good community of people helping each other out. Like that does lead to real strength. You look at the Rothschilds, they're for all of their stuff, they're a pretty strong family. It looks like they keep it all in their family. They help each other out is what it seems like from an external point of view. So go on.
It's always
In the town that I grew up in, there probably, I don't know, I was pretty young when I really started like noticing the change, but there were a lot of immigrants from south of the border, probably Mexico predominantly, and there have been other people from different places, Guatemala and Honduras, all these places, of course, but a lot of immigrants kind of coming in and doing it the right way, obviously, coming in, becoming citizens, building businesses, starting restaurants. They would live in one house. There would be 3 generations in one home.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that we've lost. And that's part of the, kind of people pushing the American dream of moving out and having your own shit and, the house with the white picket fence and the 9 to 5 and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if we all kind of, these people could have, 3 generations, maybe even 2 families living in a house, they'd pay it off as soon as they could. They'd help each other to do the next one. And pretty soon these people are more successful. I mean, they've been in the country 10 years and they're set up better than most people who are multi-generational, Americans who have taken everything for granted and thought, I want more of my own shit. Like you said, that individualism. That's definitely something that we've lost, is that idea of that family unit sticking together and helping each other out. Grandparents in the home helping to raise the kids, providing a different paradigm, different teachings to the kids from a different era. It's all stuff that's super important that's just gone.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I go like, I'm sitting there comparing again between the US and Colombia, and like I think what I notice is that communal side is amazing in the like localized level. So like your neighborhood, your family, like all of that. But the government systems in South America are they're terrible, right? So it's like there's like things that
Pros and
like
cons.
yeah, well it's like I think the system was supposed to be, and this is what like good churches try to do, right? If you're again following the same, at least the thread that I'm on, is it's like the church is meant to be a community source of people locally. So like in your neighborhood, in your area, like the families, the people are all there together, come together to build, in your example, not, the gold, but, just a structure that was needed. People should come together, help each other.
Right.
Oh, someone's parents died. Guess what? These other people are going to help take care of the kids and like help make sure everyone's
Sure.
there. But as a system of government, you basically want the government out of as much stuff as possible, right? Like you want the government like not involved intimately in the day-to-day lives of the citizens. And so like you have like this, and I think where in the US it trickled down, where like the powers that be, that sort of individualistic mindset is now, it just like pervades. Because I completely agree. Like there's such a thing of like, oh, I've got my stuff, you've got yours, we don't need each other. Whereas in like somewhere like Colombia, people needed each other to survive. Like it's hard to survive, so they get together, they help each other.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, it's definitely like the government is like, hey, we will be your family, we will be your safety net, we will protect you. We will provide you security if you just relinquish your power and money to us. We'll take care of you. Which never
100%.
works.
100%.
Well, a while back you were talking something about a little bit about feminism,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that feminism really, like, kind of modern feminism paved the way for a lot of the problems that we're seeing now. And I'm all about women having power in the right way. Nothing wrong with like personal feminine power, but feminism, it's like, I mean, what is the opposite of feminism? What, chauvinism? I mean, you can't really say that feminism is good and then like say that chauvinism is bad. If it was all about men getting ahead or whatever, like that's bad. Like everyone says, okay, that's bad. But it's like, well, then how can feminism be good? Like that doesn't make much sense. It's literally the opposite. It's about choosing that female over like a male candidate or whatever the case, and that kind of has sort of opened the door for all of these other things down the line of like we've talked about, kind of the LGBTQ movement and all these things. And like you can get power just by being a particular type of human.
Well, that's identity politics, right? Whoever was in power, they got it by, doing things the wrong way, right? They didn't get it in a legitimate way, so that's white men, right? They're the problem. And those that are the opposite or have opposite characteristics, they are actually more moral, and so they would be better leaders. It's so nonsensical when you kind of lay it out like all the way across. But it's the thing with identity politics is it makes it so easy to just go through life feeling victimized and not having to actually do the hard things like you guys were saying.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have to take responsibility because the
The
system was
hard
rigged
things
against me.
like the hard things like wrapping it up. I'm sorry. We've got to head out right now. Or Jake and I have to start wrapping it up. So sorry for cutting you off, Cody. But this was a great conversation. I mean, if you and Willie want to continue, we can. But Jake and I have to hop out.
For sure,
Well,
man. No,
appreciate you guys all being here. Cody, you good? Do you wanna wrap it up as well?
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Thanks for cutting me off because I'll go on this sort of stuff for hours.
Yeah.
No,
me
it was
too.
good. I like listening to you. Thanks for joining. It was great.
I
Very
appreciate it.
good conversation.
Definitely a good little ending point there. Leave us with some more knowledge. So appreciate it.
Cody, I can tell you are at heart a based GigaChad, and we have a blue hat for you anytime, brother. You can come hang out with us whenever you want. Anytime you want to just pop into one of our podcasts or something, let us know, man, because I loved it. Fantastic conversation, brother.
Appreciate it. Enjoyed it, guys. Y'all have a good night.
You
All
too.
right.
too.
Thanks,
You too,
everyone.
man.
All right, listeners, check out MaxETH as well. Go grab a bag and don't full stack Hitler it on anybody. All right.